Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Living Life at Life View. I am your host, Dr. Veronica Garcia, and today I have a super special guest, and special because I get to teach him this quarter, and he gets to be in one of my classes, and I'm really excited for the world to hear a little bit more about Damontae Dewitt. Hi Damontae, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good, Dr. Garcia. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm really happy to have you here.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
So Damontae, tell the world a little bit about you. Where do you come from? What program you're in, and what class or what? How far into the program you're in?
So I am from Wisconsin.
Okay.
I know it's it's not Georgia, but
cheese state.
Cheese state. Yep. America's Dairyland. So I'm from Wisconsin. I am currently in the DC program.
Yeah.
I'm an 8th quarter student, and yeah, that's where I'm at right now in my life journey.
I love it. And why the DC? Why the Doctor of Chiropractic program?
So a long time ago, I always wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And somebody told me I had a nice smile. And I said, thank you. But I also realized that when people see people, they look at their teeth a lot and they say, they base some opinions off of their smile.
Yeah.
And I started looking at people's smiles more once people started telling me that I had a nice smile. And I said, some people don't have nice smiles, so I want to help them get good smiles.
Okay.
So then I decided I was going to be a dentist.
Yeah.
So since I was a child, I was like, I'm going to be a dentist. I'm going to be a dentist.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then once I got into undergrad, I took my DAT, or during undergrad, I took my DAT, got into dental school, but I was also on the track team. I got injured on the track team, and one of my teammates was like, you should go see my aunt, because it was a low back injury. And I went to the doctor. They said they wanted to give me a cortisone shot, and that was the only thing they could do, and I didn't want to do that. So my teammate, she said, you should go see my aunt. She's a chiropractor. And I said, okay, I've never been to a chiropractor before, so I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Went and visited her aunt, got a couple adjustments, and after that, I was almost pain-free. And that's when I said, I don't want to be a dentist anymore. I want to help people how she helps people. And I decided I was going to be a physical therapist.
Skip through chiropractic.
Skip through chiropractic. And then I kept getting adjusted by her, and she's like, no, don't go be a physical therapist. Chiropractic is where it's at.
Yeah.
And eventually she was like, she convinced me enough, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to chiropractic school. And then she told me to go to Palmer, and I applied to Palmer, got in, and then eventually a random situation happened. I was at a grocery store, and I had a chiropractor shirt from the woman who was my chiropractor.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, are you a chiropractor? I'm like, no, I'm going to go to chiropractic school. And she said, oh, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Palmer. And then she's like, oh, I'm going to Life. I've never heard of Life.
Yeah.
And then once she told me about Life, I looked into Life, I came and toured, and then here I am sitting next to you now.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Just the smallest, teeny tiniest events, going to the grocery store, having an injury, and still thinking about PT.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that chiropractors, we're pretty persuasive people.
Yes,
no, let me tell you something. Chiropractors were that, okay?
Yeah.
But it's such a beautiful thing that all these little teeny tiny experiences have to align for you to come here.
I agree.
So tell me, you had already applied to Palmer. And Palmer is an amazing institution as well. There's a great institution, whichever of the two we're talking about, right?
This was in Iowa.
In Iowa. It's great institutions, both of them. But what made you, from touring Life University, say, I want to be here?
So because I'm from Wisconsin, I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see me being a farm boy. But I grew up on a farm. And I was always surrounded by nature. Like, I always was around animals. I wanted to be outside. So when I went and toured Palmer, the campus, it was a nice campus. But as soon as you step off campus, there's like a 6-lane road right there. And you're just in the middle of the town of Davenport. It just doesn't feel welcoming. It feels confined, and like there's too much pressure from the outside pushing in. And when I came to Life, I said, I toured the campus and I was like, there is no way that this is actually 15 minutes from downtown Atlanta.
From Atlanta, yeah.
It is insane because we have the little reserve with all the walking trails.
Yeah.
And our campus is so wide and expanded, and it doesn't seem compact at all. Yeah. And that's when I said, I don't feel like I'm in the middle of a city.
Yeah.
In a huge metropolitan area. Mm-hmm. And that's what made me decide to choose life over Palmer.
That's awesome. I love that. I love our campus. I truly do. I come from an undergraduate institution that we had a ginormous campus. Like every department had its own like building and whatnot. And transferring here and be able to have everything walking distance, but still is a good 15 to 20 minute walk. Yeah. Like it's not, I'm just going to walk 5 minutes and be in the next place, right? It was still significant enough that you could connect, like you said, whether it is that you are at the Vitalism fountains, or you're walking through the Generations Wall, or you're going into the trail and doing the hike. There's so much of Life University that it is to also allow us to, in the midst of the pressure of the school, kind of disconnect from that and reconnect to self, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. The reconnection is what sold me on it, because there's got to be that distinction between school and you have to have some type of vice to just relax and get away from it. And my vice is being out in nature, and having that right across the street was it was a no-brainer that I had to come here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me, how was the transition going from, or were you in an undergraduate that was semester school?
Yep.
Okay. From going in undergraduate that was semester school. Also, what did you do in your undergraduate?
So I was technically pre-dental with a biology major.
Okay.
And so I focused a lot more towards the dentistry track. But then once I decided to not do that, I just cut that, and then I was strictly a biology major. But the transition was a little rough because I would always dread 8 a.m.s in my undergrad, and then I had maximum 3 classes a day. But then coming here, they're like, yeah, the first class you have is at 7 a.m. during orientation. And I'm like, 7? I'm usually not awake until like 7:45. Yeah. And knowing that the classes were from like 7, sometimes they could be 7 to 7. It was rough in the beginning.
Yes.
The exhaustion hit me very quickly. But after the first month and a half, I got pretty used to it. Yeah. Because you have to. It's the start of a 3.5-year journey. So.
Yes. And they say that it takes 30 days to start building a habit. So you are immersed in it. Yeah. Really quick. You do get immersed in it really quick. Tell me a little bit about how you're halfway through the program, right? It's 14 quarters. You're about 7th and 8th quarter.
Yes. Between 7th and 8th.
Between 7th and 8th. You're halfway there. Tell me, what are some of those resources that you've used? You mentioned vice, going back to nature, but other resources that you use to stay focused and to continue going? Because we all know, and if you didn't know and you're listening in, the chiropractic program, it is a very intense, it is a very demanding program, and it can take a lot. But what are some of those things that you've been doing, or groups that you've been involved with, that allow you to stay focused and kind of stay thriving with it?
The number one thing that I've probably been doing to help me like stay dedicated and keep that fire is going to seminars. Every seminar, most of them have a philosophy night the night before. And people who don't go to that, they think they're irrelevant and not important, but the philosophy behind what you're doing is key. And everybody's philosophy is different. So that little aspect of how one doctor practices can change someone's life. It can be profound. It's like just a little seed can be planted, and so much can come from that single seed. Yeah. And that's one thing that has helped me exponentially, because sometimes you get down, you have 8 midterms in a week, and you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. But at the end of the week, you have a seminar, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do some training, get a little more hands-on, and you hear that doctor talk, and they're like just firing you up. And it just flips that switch back on, fuels that fire. It's awesome. But the organizations I'm a part of, I'm a brother of the chiropractic fraternity, Delta Sigma Chi. I'm also I'm a student ambassador, forgot about that. And I'm an officer in the SOT club.
Only. These are big pillars. This is big groups, really awesome, beautiful groups that are all about pouring into each other, which I think definitely sets the student experience apart. As a graduate and fellow student ambassador, I think my career at Life University was prior to being a student ambassador and then after being a student ambassador, completely two different ones.
Me too. It changed since joining student ambassadors. I've always been like a shyer person, and I thought I could get through this program without like putting myself out there and interacting with people. But then one of my friends who's also a student ambassador, he's like, "You need to do this, Damontae." And I'm like, I don't like talking to people too much. I don't like projecting my voice. I don't like being the center of attention. He's like, "You need to do this. It's going to help you grow. This is how you're going to be for the rest of your life in practice." And then I stepped out of my shell, and now I'm loving it. It has led to so many more opportunities that I never thought I would get, solely because I realized that it gave me confidence, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It builds you. It builds that professional side of you.
It really does.
You mentioned something very particular. I think that we don't have the chance of talking a lot about it, and we haven't in this podcast yet. And it's the philosophy. Like, chiropractic has 3 pillars, and I think one of the biggest pillars that it's so important, it's deeply rooted into everything we do, every patient that we see, every communication that we have, every hand we shake, is our philosophy. So tell me a little bit about your philosophy within chiropractic, and why do you think it's such an important pillar of us as a profession?
So do you mean like my individual philosophy?
Yes. Go ahead. That
is a lot. So I believe that every creature, I want to work with humans and animals, so I'm going to be a dual chiro. I believe that every creature deserves sentience. And so sentience is the ability to feel and perceive and react to things.
Yeah.
But because of how the world is today, people don't essentially have the ideal sentience that they should have. And so I believe that chiropractic is a way to help people obtain sentience in that sense. And I think it is important because it adds value to how they live their lives, how they interact with others, and just how they go about their worldly things. And with chiropractic, our philosophy is important because it helps us realize that we don't need to rely on external things to have internal value and internal reactions. And that's what most of the medical profession relies on, is some sort of medication to help you, some sort of therapy to help you. But really, if you're in a state to where you can fully adapt and react and feel what is going on, your body and your mind, you should be able to express everything that's going on. Yeah,
I love that. I absolutely love that. I love that as your philosophy individually. And I also love that you're also pouring into our community through this platform, because chiropractic is art, chiropractic is science, and chiropractic is philosophy.
It is.
And it is a balance of all 3 of those, not one more than the other. Absolutely. It's a beautiful balance of all 3 of those that create this cohesive, harmonic dance that it is chiropractic. So thank you. Thank you for your time. I'm really excited for the next half of your career here.
Me too. Very excited.
Yay! You're entering clinic next quarter.
I'm entering clinic next quarter.
Yeah, starting to care for patients and giving them and kind of building all that into the people on your table. So congratulations on your journey. I'm really excited to see you grow. And good luck on your finals. I know that they're kind of slowly creeping in.
Yes, midterms still aren't over, but thank you for the good luck on the finals.
You're welcome. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Living Life a Life You. Have a beautiful day, Damontae.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye, guys.
Goodbye.